Big thanks to Into the AM for helping to support my channel. Use my coupon code RISTER or any of my affiliate links for an additional 10% off of any order. Thanks again to Into the AM. This past weekend, Seibugeki 17 went down in Japan, the second of two majors to go down in the country at the same time. I covered the other major, Sumobato SP49, in yesterday's video. And I also covered S Factor 11 on Tuesday, a super major that went down in Mexico. These three majors are the final tournaments to go down this ranking season, and it threw everything into chaos. Top seeds getting upset left and right at the last second means that I do not envy LumiRank this year. Want a good example? The first seed of the entire tournament, Hurt, ended up placing 49th after being double upset by Teru, a Fox main in an upset factor 12 win, and then Donkey Kong main Marudona HO, an upset factor 10 win. Ken, the fourth seed, also underperformed, placing 33rd after getting upset by Chan, another Fox main, an upset factor 8, as well as Sasusoro for an upset factor 5. Hopefully I've been able to demonstrate the insanity of this tournament, and the chaos that surrounded it. But if these highly decorated top seeds didn't make top 8, then who did? Well, today we'll be going over just that, seeing how the top 8 finishers made it there and how they did within it. Before we begin though, just a quick note. This tournament was streamed on YouTube and the individual VODs have not been uploaded. That means I couldn't get it at a very high resolution. Here's what it looked like when I tried to download the entire stream. So instead, I was forced to screen record the entire top 8. But due to time constraints, I can't screen record every single notable set. So I just have top 8 sets only, none of the other ones. That just means that this video will be a little bit more old school than my last two uploads. I'm sorry, but this is just what I've got to do to make this video with footage that doesn't look like this. So yeah, sorry. Also, at some points during the montages, the VOD might stutter a bit. That's not me, that's not you, that's the tournament stream messing up. I'll do my best to edit them out, but I can't promise it'll be perfect. With that out of the way, let's get started by taking a look at losers 8s. Those sets being Motsanabe vs Huto and Tamayigo vs Gachipi. Let's start off with Gachipi and Tamayigo, shall we? Gachipi is the best Lucario player in Japan, and at this point, the world, since this tournament marks the first time that a solo Lucario has ever made top 8 at a major. Gachipi does have a Sonic secondary, but it wasn't used at Seibugeki 17, in which Gachipi entered as the 10th seed, starting off the weekend by getting through pools, dropping games to both Rion and Ball, Japan's best K rule, before moving into top 64 and defeating Ryohei 3-0. At this point though, Gachipi ended up losing to Motsanabe 3-1, dropping into losers and first defeating Sasusoro, who had just defeated Ken, in a 3-1 win. After this, Gachipi got wins over Leaf and Harisen, both in 3-0 fashion, making top 8 through losers side. Tamayigo is one of Japan's many talented Rob mains, joined by the likes of Sasusoro, Lappy, and Kuropanzu. Tamayigo came into the event as the 33rd seed, starting off the weekend by making it through pools with only one game drop to Jinjin, before entering into top 64 and defeating Teru, who had just beaten Hurt 3-0, as well as Reno 3-1 to make it into winners quarterfinals. Here, Tamayigo would lose a close game 5 set to Toyy, dropping into losers and clutching out a game 5 win over Ake to make top 8 through losers side, in order to go up against Gachipi. And in the end, Gachipi defeated Tamayigo 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Tamayigo at 7th place as the 33rd seed. It's now time for us to take a look at the other side of losers 8ths. Huto versus Motsunabe. Motsunabe, Japan's best Falco, came into the tournament as the 7th seed, starting off the weekend by sweeping pools flawlessly, the only player we've covered so far to do so. In top 64, Motsunabe defeated Teishi in a close game 5 set, as well as Gachipi 3-1 like we mentioned earlier, making it into winners quarterfinals. Once here, Motsunabe lost to Shuton 3-1, dropping into losers and clutching out a game 5 over Kept to make top 8 through losers side. Huto is the best Wario main in Japan, who came into Seibugeki 17 as the 15th seed, starting off the weekend by getting through pools without dropping a single game. But upon moving into top 64, Huto would immediately lose to Leaf's Robin 3-0, dropping into losers and first defeating Ryuk 3-0, before then proceeding to beat Natsu and Reno, both in close game 5 sets, as well as Uwame's Olimar 3-0, impressive given the matchup. Lastly, Huto defeated Goryoka's Joker in a 3-1 victory, making top 8 through losers side, in order to go up against Motsunabe.
まだまだ活躍したい両者による敗者がして危ないたら空中士がジャストシードにせっかく松延選手が空中したやれ空中したやれ上スマッシュと当ててしていたのにまあギリギリのしのぎ下回誘爆使って上スマッシュがわずかに割れなかったそして浮かされて目の前飛び出たところしかし下投げで読んでるぞ登りながらで 18% だここはうまく登りながら帰ってくるところだ許さないこれは空中まで上ビコ1個ずつぞ上ビコ1個ずつぞこれはなんとか帰ったの上ビコから見てるしたら諦めたぞ空中前を落としてから
And ultimately, Huto defeated Motsunabe 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Motsunabe at 7th place as the 7th seed. But before we can catch up with Huto and Gachipi in losers bracket, we have to take a look up at winner semifinals, those sets being Shuton versus Tamapi Daifuku and Fui versus Toyy. Let's start off with Fui and TG, shall we? Toyy, giving Banjo yet another major top 8, came into the tourney as the 9th seed, starting off the weekend by barely getting through pools, going to a decisive game 3 against literally all of his pools opponents. After making top 64 through the skin of his teeth, Toyy defeated Sasusoro in a game 5 set, Uwame 3-1, impressive given the matchup, and lastly, yet another Rob main in Tamayigo, in yet another nail-biting game 5. And with this, Toyy made top 8 through winner's side. Fui, the Yoshi, came into Seibugeki 17 as the 12th seed, starting off the weekend by sweeping pools flawlessly before moving into top 64 and defeating Rimu 3-0, Yaman Action in a reverse 3-0, and lastly, Harasen 3-0, making winner's side top 8 in order to go up against Toyy. And in the end, Fui defeated Toyy 3-1, moving into winners finals and casting TG down into losers to face off against Huto. But before we see that, we have to see the other side of winners semis, Shuton versus Tamapi Daifuku. Tamapi Daifuku came into the tournament as the 3rd seed, starting off the weekend by making through pools without dropping a game, then moving into top 64 and defeating Sumaho 3-1, as well as both Lax and Goryoka, both in 3-0s, making winner's side top 8. Shuton came into Seibugeki 17 as the 2nd seed, starting off the weekend by sweeping pools flawlessly, before then moving into top 96 and getting wins over Natsu 3-0, Leaf in a close game 5 set, And lastly, Motsunabe 3-1, making top 8 through winner's side, in order to go up against Tamapi Daifuku. 'And in a close Game 5 set, Tamapi Daifuku defeated Shuton 3-2, moving into winners finals against Fui and casting Shuton down into losers bracket to face off against Gachipi. And since we're talking about that set already, let's just go watch it now, shall we? And ultimately, Shuton defeated Gachipi 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Gachipi at 5th place as the 10th seed. Lucario's best solo performance in all of Ultimate history. Shuton now advanced into losers semifinals, and to see who else would make it there, let's take a look at the other side of losers quarters. Huto versus Toyy.
バンジャーの数いたキャラクターが防御的な剣を当たっちゃうと影響がかかっちゃうんですけど、熊手がくして
空中後ろ押し切って上スマッシュ叩き込んだトリグリ、並んだんですが着地がありがたかった。ショットでスパイク抜け出したトリグリ。
いやアイテムなんですけどうまいな。
その今でもロケットがもう取らせて空中後ろ落としになったか。空中後ろうわーなったなんとか空中になるから外は完全に読んでいた前投げ。そしてこれはワンダメで帰らざるを得ない。そしてその展開を作った空中ショッ下り空中へ捉えた。
And in the end, Huto defeated Toyy 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Toyy at 5th place as the 9th seed. Another major top 8 under his belt. Huto now advanced into loser semifinals in order to face off against Shuton.
ゴムヒカかなと思ったんですけど、今日はそうですね、使い分けている印象が強い選手ですが、これはワリオに対して引き離されてしまうことになります。勝利のためのゲームプランを保つことができるか、ビットワリオ追いつくことができるか。空対空空中前危ないところ、これはいやー、あれタイミングをずらしての空中、ステージの狭さがあだとなるというか、はい、先ほど足攻撃、ようやくストップ追いつきました。なんだかんだで追いついてはいる。ストップさえ奪われなければというところなんですが、ここで捕まってしまった。149%、絶対不明の体。しかし やばい。投手の炎は消えていない。いや、大より空中へ。パックフラワーとか別ですね。はい。ああ、これはなるほど。しかし掴まれている。後ろ投げ。まだ決には至らない。しかし刻一刻とインサの時間は近づいてきていた。
And ultimately, Shuton defeated Huto 3-0, moving on in bracket and eliminating Huto at 4th place as the 15th seed, the biggest breakout performance of this entire top 8. Shuton now moved into losers finals, awaiting the resolution of winners finals, Tamapi Daifuku versus Fui.
やはりジャンプ攻撃の強いファイターですので、
はい。
そういったところにベヨネットの、アフターバーナーキック等々の置き技が刺さってくると大火力ですので、これで吉野もかなり
やはり最終的な
高いよ。
これはやばいじゃないか。おお、上に運び切って空中前。さあ、ピーペンももちろん逃さない。指名ペンチですが、よし、ギリギリ耐えました。
移動が低かったので助かりましたね。
いや、しかし、崖上のベヨネッタのプレッシャー。完璧に使いこなしてみせました。これは高いね、上空。いやー、空中でなすすべのないちっちゃい距離の分だけ意識があるぞ。どうやって帰ってくるか、海峡をつかまざるを得ないが、その先には空中しろ。
この後なんだよな、やっぱり
運びますね。110%。そして下スマッシュ構えています。回避を選択していましたから、少しと、いや、スマッシュは2度刺す。君は反応していて、一旦上投げ。着地後に技を振らせて植木を打ち上げられるかと思いきや、スレスレに耐えていた。これは、いやー、このよし、素晴らしい植木を空語。
And in the end, Tamapi Daifuku defeated Fui 3-0, moving into grand finals from winner's side and casting Fui down into losers finals, where Shuton awaited.
もらった上で勝つのが
そうですよね
最高ですからね。
この肉を掲げる権利まで
はい
ラストランプをしている。さあ終点ですね。空中前からこれは空上を選択します。うわっ出てよーって展開は継続。
どこ
空中への暴れ。うわっとまたしてもデジャブヒップドロップ。
どうなの
これはどうなの。まだ問題ですね。146% では実施しないんですが、
面
相手で潜り込みますが、ここはようやくシュートン選手がターンを断ち切った形。
いや
そして上スマッシュ。
宮崎クイーンってやっぱり状況リセットされるのが一番嫌なので、
はい。おっとこれは素晴らしい。ターンを使いましょう。
大丈夫。
気をつけまって回避上がり。渾身の上スマッシュにはガードが間に合っている。なるほど、跳ね仕組みでタイミングをずらしての展開。前ステップに上スマッシュ。勢いの寿命を縮めていく。紫含みに揃っているぞ。一旦が掴み直して崖離し空中へ。
And ultimately, Shuton defeated Fui 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Fui at 3rd place as the 12th seed. Another amazing breakout. Shuton now moved up into grand finals from loser's side to go up in the run back against Tamapi Daifuku to see who would become your champion of Seibugeki 17.
少しですが抜けている。最終弾まで吹き飛びが入ればというところではありましたが、ここは相手ストックを犠牲に大きなプレッシャーをかけることで成功しました。
タービーチャンスですね。
そうですね。いやー、しかしレイズエンド。いや、空後の暴れの判断素晴らしい。着地が来たところを逆にカウンター、そして打ち抜いた。素晴らしいですね。おお、なるほど。最後に回ってからスカッシュガード上京の目が多くなっても強なったのか。台の目ダウンしてしまうと恐ろしい展開が待っていそうだ。これは空中の判断。撃墜こそしませんが、タマピービオネット今のところ3回当てたいコンボを当てることができています。これは素晴らしい。ウィッチタイムここで切ってくる。ダブルアップを通して 50% ほどわずか10秒で稼いでいきました。
空指導
はい。大丈夫。これ途中で横運び切った。降りてきたんですが、どちら間に合っている。
後ろ
打ち
高い。
上げてこの横 B の当たり方はなかなか怖いぞ。上京からまだ怖いんじゃないか。この上 B は空中でねじめ。しかし依然としてタマピーのターン、そして空中後ろ横スマッシュ見てからその後には崖離し空中前。
めちゃくちゃ追いついてます。
そうですね。いや、このベチタイムはどう出るの。上京打ち上げて反転したスマッシュ。反応して今クイーン打っていましたね。危なかった。このスカシスカミは誰でも通る。
ジャンプ読み危ない。
空中上からコブラの展開、後ろ投げできることならここで直で帰ってくるこの弾力。光にしてるんですが、ジャンプ精度から空中後ろ。
And in the end, Tamapi Daifuku defeated Shuton 3-1, eliminating Shuton at 2nd place as the 2nd seed, and with Tamapi Daifuku winning Seibugeki 17 as the 3rd seed. This is Tamapi Daifuku's first ever major win, and more impressively, it's Bayonetta's first ever solo major win. as Bloom Forever used Mii Brawler several times during their win at VCA 2022. Do you know what this means, dear viewers? Shiny Mark won S Factor 11, his first major win, and Pikachu's first solo super major. Doramiki won Sumobato SP49, his and Solo Min Min's first major win. And now, Tamapi Daifuku won Seibugeki 17, his first major, and Bayo's first solo major win. 3 characters and players all getting new milestones in the last weekend of this ranking season. Do you now know why I feel so bad for Lumirank? How on earth are these tournaments going to affect the rankings? Let me know in the comments down below. Do any of these players make top 15 in the world because of these last minute majors? To find out for sure, all we can do is wait. But as far as today goes, however, that's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out my patrons Seth Laster, Logan S, Persipom, Wawa, Mrs. Sinister, Happy Feet, Oshiman, Mistybot, Diamond Blaze, and my 2 patrons Iltis and Ben L. Additionally, shout out my YouTube members DJR Jr., Boston R, SSBU, Kirby Fan, Nexus, Loco Soko, and my 2 members Mike G, Wu-Tang Forever, and Stormtrooper. Lastly, extra special thanks to my tier 3 supporters Fat Blizzard, who says big deal make it out of a slump, Avadoon, who says Mr. Rice is the go to Smash content, Iltis, who says MK Leo always comes back, and Grant I Am. If you want to support me using any of these methods, links are in the description down below. Don't forget to use my coupon code RISTER in order to get 10% off of any order from Into the AM. And lastly, I want to give one last sincere thanks to Let Me Fly for their continued support of my channel. Link to their Twitter page is also in the description. Don't miss my next upload, but until then, I've been Mr. Mice, and thank you all so very much for watching.
Every second I was losing patience. Couldn't execute like daily operations. Who could? Well, we had such a deep relationship. But I chose the path, the right path for sure.